Y'all want to see it?
Local man shocked and confused when face-eating leopard invited into his home ate his face.
Services are going to be markedly cut back.
Doge is an effort headed by Elon Musk at the direction of President Trump to reduce the federal workforce and trim what it sees as wasteful government spending. Bean agrees that there is a need for cutbacks on federal spending, but some of Doge's methods, like cuts to fair housing, is going too far.
There is a way to approach scaling back government and addressing abuse without across the board harming millions and millions of people.
Hey, good people, happy Friday, and thank you for stopping by another quick edition of the Independent Mail. All right, today we're going to get right into it because this is a follow-up from a video that I did last week that was in regards to the housing market and the potential outlook over the next couple of years with the Trump administration and Doge activity. We looked at this through the lens of an analyst from JP Chase, where we looked at things like tariffs, specifically with the lumber industry in Canada, along with the tariffs on again, off again, causing uncertainty and some inflationary activity, which could keep interest rates from declining and maybe even rise, along with adding the immigration policy, the mass deportations, which drive down the labor force, actually the affordable labor force in the construction industry, also maybe driving up cost, which had an outlook of potentially slowing down the real estate market in the years to come due to high interest rates and high costs for construction. After we looked at those things, I had a follow-up question. Because Doge at that point, as Elon illustrated, came out with the chainsaw slashing everything. And I was wondering what all of Doge's cuts were going to have on what kind of effect it was going to have on the housing market as well. And I pointed out things like GSAs meaning like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA from HUD, those types of programs that have been used to help everyday Americans afford the American dream by subsidizing down payments and not having to do the traditional 20% down that we used to. Well, fast forward to this week and we found out exactly what that meant. It meant $1 billion cuts to HUD and affordable housing. But let's take a look at those articles right quick, and then I'm going to circle back and show you what this actually means for everyone, because right now I think this seems like it's a issue for only a specific demographic. But let's check it out. Musk's Doge shutters $1 billion affordable housing program. Let's check it out. The Trump administration has moved to terminate a $1 billion program aimed at preserving affordable housing, a decision that could disrupt efforts to maintain tens of thousands of units for low-income Americans. The move, directed by President Donald Trump and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, is part of broader fund freezes at the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, according to internal documents reviewed by the Associated Press. Why it matters. Doge has come under scrutiny for the pace, depth, and breadth of its cuts to the federal funds under the mission to eliminate waste and fraud. Trump responded to such criticism. He said that he wants Musk's Doge to use a scalpel rather than a hatchet in its approach to spending cuts. The Green and Resilient Retrofit program, passed by Congress in 2022, was designed to provide grants and loans for energy efficient improvements in affordable housing units. While officially intended to promote sustainability, the funding was also a critical mechanism for keeping the units affordable. Participating in the projects would require to maintain affordability for up to 25 years. The federal funds often served as a key financial lever to attract additional investment. Without this support, thousands of affordable housing units could deteriorate or be lost entirely. What to know? The program has already allocated funding to upgrade at least 25,000 housing units nationwide, but HUD has not clarified how it will handle the rollbacks. According to an internal HUD document obtained by the Associated Press, The decision to shutter the program came at the direction of Doge. Two HUD employees speaking anonymously due to fear of reprisals confirmed the directive. HUD did not respond to multiple requests for comments. Mike Essien, vice president at American Community Development, Inc., which had received program funding, warned without this support, projects could collapse. Projects will fail. These projects that are already difficult to finance, Essien said. The U.S. is experiencing a significant affordable housing crisis characterized by soaring home prices and escalating rents that outpace income growth. The shortage of affordable housing units further compounds the issue. The crisis has led to 18% rise in homelessness nationwide per HUD data, underscoring the urgent need for comprehensive policy interventions to expand affordable housing. And here we have another article. Doge's cuts to HUD will make it harder to afford housing. All right, let's check this out right quick. See if it's reiterating the other article. What do we have here? All right. A number of people struggle with affordable housing, and leaders from across the political spectrum have called for action. But the Trump administration, including Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, has taken one step after another that will undermine the most effective policies that will help people afford housing, including cutting the Housing and Urban Development HUD staff, withholding urgently needed funds, and making harmful policy changes. In 2023, 24 million people lived in low-income housing units that paid over half of their income in rent, forcing them to shift money away from other basic needs and often leaving them one setback from eviction. In January 2024, 770,000 people across the country, an all-time high, couldn't afford housing at all and were forced to live in shelters, cars, tents, and other unsafe, unstable circumstances. These problems are solvable. Housing choice vouchers and similar rental assistance sharply reduce housing instability and overcrowding. Research shows and rental assistance combined with supportive services when needed is the most effective policy in reducing homelessness. Today, only 1 in 4 households in need receives rental assistance due to funding limitations, and waiting lists for assistance are long almost everywhere. So, policymakers should be seeking to expand this highly effective assistance to reach everyone in need. Okay? Why did I bring this up? Who cares, right? I know there's an element of the electorate out there that's going to celebrate everything that this administration and Doge does as long as it doesn't affect them. So that's the reason why I bring this up. So let's look at just who is going to be affected by this large scale cut to HUD and affordable housing. Let's check this out right quick. All right, here's an article here on Yahoo News. I believe it is brought to us by NerdWallet. Oh, no, it's Wallet Hub. All right, that'll do it. All right, that's good for you guys. All right, let's check this out. All right. The 5 states in America most dependent on federal funding, and the 5 least dependent. We'll check those out as well. All right. So this is some article here about cutting $1 trillion, laying people off. You know what Doge is up to, which is why we're looking at this. So this is why we're going to take a look at the 5 most dependent states in our fair union, right, on federal government. All right. Number 5. South Carolina. All right. 5th most dependent. Number 4 most dependent country on federal, most dependent state on federal funds, Mississippi. All right. Number 3, 3rd most dependent state in our fair union on federal funds, West Virginia. All right. We're getting down here, boy. Who's number 2 and number 1? Number 2. The 2nd, to be honest, I thought they were going to be number 1. I'm dying to see who number 1 is, actually, because I thought it was going to be the fine people in Bourbon country of Kentucky, the 2nd most dependent state on federal funds in this fine union. And number 1 was a freaking mystery to me, because I thought it was Kentucky, like I said. Alaska, of course they are off, detached from the rest of from the mainland. Alaska, most dependent state, and I get it, really, to be honest, for them. So since we took a peek to see who is the most dependent. Let's take a look and see who's the least dependent. All right, coming in at number 5, Utah. All right, least dependent. Like, you know what? We got this. We don't really need y'all funds like that. All right, cool. I got you, Utah. We see you. Number 4. Number 4th least dependent, Massachusetts. The states with the, I think per capita has the most PhDs in the nation. No wonder they're the 4th least dependent on federal funds. You know what I'm saying? They're like, we don't need your money. Who's number 3? Delaware. I think ain't that Sleepy Joe country? And sidebar, quick fun fact, that is where everyone in the country that wants to receive a little bit of a tax break for their businesses registers their company in Delaware. So you'll find that a lot of times people, no matter where they live in the country and where they open their business, they will register it in the fine state of Delaware to receive some little tax breaks there. So that's just something that we put out there for you on the Independent Mail. But let's see who is the 2nd least dependent state in this fine union. California, know how to party. I thought that was going to be number 1. But now I think I do have a guess of who number 1 is. I think it's New York. You know what I'm saying? California coming in at number 2. Do you see that you got the Hollywood side up there? They're like, come on, yo, bro. We don't need nothing for y'all. You know what I'm saying? We paying for Kentucky and West Virginia. I'm just saying. All right. And I say we, I'm just saying we for them. I don't live in California. All right, here we go. You are rambling. The coffee though. Number 1 is New Jersey. I thought it was going to be New York, but it's New Jersey. Least dependent state in this fine union. All right. That's a nice little thing there to go check out. So since we saw who the 5 most dependent states were in our fine union, and we saw who the 5 least dependent were, let's check out the electoral map for 2024 and see where all of these fine states were. All right. We had number 5, South Carolina, right here, looking pretty darn red. Who did we have at number 4? Well, this is the least right here. Let's go back up here to the needy clan. All right. So 5th was South Kakalaki. So we got that one. We know that's red, South Carolina. We saw number 2 was the SIP, David Banner, Mississippi. All right. West Virginia, red again. We see a nice little pattern going on here. Number 2, Kentucky. We know they are red right here, super red. And then we've got number 1, Alaska. So what we have found is that the top 5 states in our country that require and need the most assistance in order to get by are all Republican red states. So when you start cutting all of these programs, you're not just cutting these programs for people on the south and west side of Chicago or Detroit or Atlanta. No, you're cutting them for your fine fellow Republicans, sometimes family members that are not calling you to help them out because they're able to take advantage of some of these programs that keeps that from happening. But let's delve into this just a little bit more, right? And let's see some of the ramifications of what has already happened from some of these cuts. All right, so let's check them out.
Cuts made by the Department of Government Efficiency are going to affect the Montana Fair Housing Organization, headquartered here in Butte, which will slash its annual budget by about 80%.
I was quite taken aback to see an email, open it up, and find out everything stops this minute.
In a February 27th email from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Bean was informed that a grant that provides fair housing with $425,000 in funding each year was immediately terminated per executive order required under DOGE.
Oh, it was quite a shock. We were preparing, we had interviews scheduled to hire a couple folks, and, cases in the midst.
Montana Fair Housing is a nonprofit that intervenes on discriminatory housing practices, settles tenant-landlord disputes, and other matters outlined in the Federal Fair Housing Act. Bean said her organization gets about 180 inquiries a month.
Services are going to be markedly cut back.
DOGE is an effort headed by Elon Musk at the direction of President Trump to reduce the federal workforce and trim what it sees as wasteful government spending. Bean agrees that there is a need for cutbacks on federal spending, but some of DOGE's methods, like cuts to fair housing, is going too far.
There is a way to approach scaling back government and addressing abuse without across the board harming millions and millions of people.
The Fair Housing Office has 3 employees and plans to continue by seeking funds through other grants and donations. In Butte, John Amey, MTN News.
So as you can see, a lot of these cuts are going to be widespread and hard-hitting. And I know a lot of our electorate don't care about things unless they're on their doorstep. Well, these cuts are going to be on a lot more of our doorsteps than I think some of us realize. Some of us are sending children off to college, where in 4 years, they may be back at home because they can't afford a place to stay. And who knows what rents are going to be once the private equity firms and institutional investors buy them all up and jack the rents up for this renter nation that we may be in with the current administration. Now, could there be a possibility that people are looking at this within the administration and see some of this stuff on the rise and maybe pivot and make some turns to course correct? Very much well could be in play, and that could be the thing that happens. But what I just want to point out is, while right now we're paying attention to eggs and firings and things of that nature, what's coming down the pike in the housing horizon may be a bigger deal than actually a lot of us think. But I'm just putting that out there right now. Let me know what your opinion is. Until next time, you guys, peace and stay informed.